Well, let's get more on the Snowden controversy from Gerald Celente. He's publisher of the Trends Journal. Gerald, it's accepted that all governments have secret services and spy on each other. So have Snowden's revelations really put America at any kind of disadvantage now?
Oh, of course not. They always say that when this kind of thing happens. Go back to WikiLeaks when that first happened. Remember how that was going to compromise American security and its war on terror? They always say this when they get caught. But to me, what is most astounding about this story is that there's nothing new about it. And when I say that, all you have to do is look past and look at the whistleblowers, such as William Biney, who talked about this before, and the journalist James Bamford, who wrote the book Shadow Factory, and his extensive articles in Wired magazine about NASA, NSA, excuse me, and which Dr. Paul Craig Roberts now calls the National Stasi agency. And so and it's not new to us. We sent you a copy of our Trends Journal from a year ago, spring 2012. And we did a big story on Big Bro, that he's watching you all the time. And we have quote after quote in here about how, the bigger than Big Brother, far more comprehensive and insidious than most repressive police states of the 20th century, since 9/11, Big Bro USA has been secretly compiling vast databases of private information on you. Telephone conversations, personal emails, visited websites, Google searches, text messages, credit card transactions, mobile phones, GPS locations, travel itineraries, Facebook activities, medical records, traffic tickets, surveillance camera footage, and online purchases. The only thing...
Okay, Gerald, look, you've said clearly nothing new in all of this. Therefore, that means that everything that Snowden's done has been in vain. What's he going to achieve? Nothing, and yet people say he's a hero.
Well, what he's done is he has the proof for what a lot of people speculated and what the whistleblowers talked about. So now they can't hide from the truth anymore. So what they do is, as leading into this, they try to change the narrative. And I believe, by the way, that this is being done for a much larger issue. You look what's going on in Brazil with the millions of people taking to the streets, the riots that are now going on in China as we speak, in different provinces. As economies collapse, what happened in Turkey? I believe that they're doing this in preparation for something bigger, and they want to track the undesirables.
Let me quickly ask you, the US seems really much more outraged by Snowden's revelations than the nations that were actually supposedly spied on by the US. We're not really hearing a great deal from them. Why is that?
Well, again, it's the propaganda to make it seem as though this is a great breach and America's not safe anymore, and the terrorists now know what the deal is. Again, what one thing that Snowden has come up with that has compromised anything? That the United States is possibly spending, and we don't know the real number, between $60 to $80 billion a year, and has 835,000 plus private contractors watching us. So this doesn't compromise anything. Again, it's propaganda.
And just, though, the argument, US Secretary of State John Kerry, he said, look, people could die as a result of what Snowden has done. He has got a point, hasn't he? Because obviously national security has been breached, and indeed personal security could now be at risk because this is all about fighting terrorism.
Well, when I love these politicians that like to quote the founding fathers, and then when it comes time when the quote doesn't fit them, they don't use it. And you quote people like Benjamin Franklin, who warned us not to give up our freedoms in the name of liberty because we would end up with neither. And that's what's going on now. Come on, this is about money. It's about the military-industrial complex and the cyber-industrial complex. As I mentioned, according to the Financial Times, they're talking about $80 billion and 835,000 private contractors. Again, what did this guy tell us, Snowden, that we already didn't know? That they're building a $2 billion facility in Bluffdale, Utah, or the giant city-sized National Security Agency facility in Fort Meade, Maryland. It's a business. The business of America used to be business, but now it's cyber war and war.
Gerald Celente, really interested to get your perspective on this. Thank you very much indeed. The publisher of the Trends Journal, live here on RT. Thanks, Gerald.